One. Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, Managing Editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Joining me today as guest on Calgary's podcast is Chynna Winter, who is Managing Broker and Licensed Partner and CEO of Engel and Volkers in Calgary. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's talk first of all about your background in this. How did you get involved in real estate initially?
I first bought a place, I believe I was 20, maybe 21 years old. I bought it for $87,500. Brand new three-bedroom townhouse here in Calgary.
Oh,
And
cool.
I sold it a year later for 112,000. And I was just hooked. I was sold. I thought that was magical.
Yeah.
Since then, I think it's been 17 properties now that I've bought myself and renovated. I would say not necessarily flipped. They were more, I genuinely wanted to live in them for a long period of time, but
Oh, yeah.
then, made them beautiful and ended up selling and moved on to the next thing. So it's been very good to me over the years. Calgary has been like just a slow and steady, climb for almost 3 decades now, which has been a very, a couple of blips in the market, definitely. But overall, a pretty steady, a great place to be able to build equity. And then let's see, then I went into rentals after that. And again, not just purely out of a business idea. Rather, I had people around me that I find that you can just control the lifestyle a lot better if you're the landlord versus the tenant. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So tell me, you didn't start off in your career as a real estate person, did you?
no, like I said, all of those were personal transactions. That's how I started. I actually originally started in geophysics as a seismic broker, and I ended up being the senior vice president of a company here in Calgary for many, many years. And that was just a wonderful opportunity in that I had all these amazing contacts here. So when it did come to a point in my life where oil and gas had changed dramatically and I was looking to do something else, I already had all of that history with buying and selling real estate, and I already had all these wonderful contacts. And so I said, well, let's give this a go. Got my real estate license, and it was just busy right out of the gate. I've been very, very fortunate that way.
How long ago did you get your license?
11 years ago.
11 years ago. Okay. Was it an easy transition to make?
It was a very easy transition because I had that love for it already,
Yeah.
and because I had the business background. And, there's a lot of real estate agents out there. I think we're about 8,600 real estate agents in Calgary right now. But I treated it as a business from the first day I was in it and had my license. And that's a differentiating factor already. You can be it's hard to be a part-time real estate agent, right? So if
Yeah.
you're really in it and treating it the right way, treating it as a business, and valuing the relationships that you're building, I think that's really part of the key to success. Because, getting your first deals is one thing, but it's really, really nice to sit back a decade later and go, oh, I've now done 8 or 9 deals with that person. That feels really good to build that body of work.
Yeah. Now, when did you become, the managing broker? I want to get the terms right. Managing broker of this office.
So that was about 5 years ago. I'm going to say I got my broker's license, 2021. It was.
Okay.
So, um, So in Alberta, as you probably know, you can start just with residential, but my mind just always wanted the next level. So went on to rural, went on to commercial, etc. And then ultimately really missed the part that I liked about my oil and gas career was I got to build people's careers and teams, help them, elevate themselves.
Yeah.
And I really missed that. And so that's been the nice thing about moving into this position is I get to still deal with real estate, still sell, but I also get to help an amazing group of people build their own careers.
Okay. Now, not to get into any specifics, but this past year and summer, the real estate industry has been rocked with a couple of quote unquote scandals, right? We've had we won't mention what companies' names, but we had one in Calgary and then one in Ontario. Um, how how important is trust and relationships when it comes to this industry?
That's everything. Everything should be built on those two things. And I feel so bad for the fallout and all the people affected, consumers and advisors and everybody affected by those situations. It's really important to know who you're aligning yourself with, and it's really important that you build these relationships, you build this trust. There's a lot of places, and I'm not saying that these are, but there's a lot of places out there that you can just be a number amongst hundreds or thousands of people within an organization. And I don't know how well you know what's actually happening there. So there
Mhm.
is a lot to be said about, aligning yourself with a group and with something where you actually are knowing the situations and who's calling the shots and what's actually happening there.
Yeah. Tell me what it takes to be a good, not a, well, a good, but also successful realtor.
Good but successful realtor. So back to my previous statement, it's a business. So you need to treat it like that. And this is these are quite often the biggest decisions, financial decisions that people are making in their entire life. So
Yeah.
you need to really constantly be making sure that you're the local expert and know everything and are guiding them in the best possible way. But I think the other part of it too is now as we're moving so far into different technologies and different things, it's important to understand that
Yeah.
it's about those people. It's about those relationships. It's about building that trust.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's the most rewarding thing when, you've done these deals and now you're dealing with their niece or their daughter or their best friend, and they're referring you on to
Yeah.
the next person. And that's when as a realtor, you've done your job.
Yeah, like everything else, like every other industry, obviously technology has been huge, right? And it changes the dynamics in an industry, and real estate is not unlike any other. Um, but you can never get away from the human element, right? And especially in this kind of a field. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's what it's about. Mhm.
Yeah. So tell me, when you look at the market in general these days, in Calgary, uh,
Mhm.
you know, are we benefiting, are we still benefiting from sort of the affordability aspect of things where a price of a home in Toronto or Vancouver or even places like Hamilton are, twice as much as what they are in Calgary?
Okay, so interesting. The last few years have been, I can't lie, they've been very enjoyable in real estate here because we had such low inventory and so many people moving here that it was relatively handed to you, in that there, yeah, it was just pretty easy. I had one gentleman who called me and asked for detached homes close to downtown at $1.5 million. I sent him listings, and 5 minutes later he called back and said, "I'll take the green one." And so in all the years in real estate where it works the opposite of that, that was an interesting situation. However, with that kind of quick buying comes a lot of liability, right? And we as real estate agents, I had to send in the property inspector. I had to do all of that, to make sure that this was still a solid decision. And so that's the biggest change I see over the last few years, where it was multiple offers on so many different things and prices were going up so quickly. Now we look at it. Last year, we had a moment where we were at 0.9 months of inventory. Compared right now, we're at about 4 months of inventory. So it's becoming much more of a balanced market,
Yeah.
which is a way healthier way to transact and to help people and not to be like having to make big decisions in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So we're actually down in the lower price points. We're actually down a few points already this year. That's the first time we've been able to say that for quite some time in Calgary. But it's not, it's not going to continue that way. When we look at everything across the market, we are still completely affordable, especially when you're looking at our counterparts in Ontario and British Columbia. We're still very, very economical here. Now, you couple that also with across multiple industries, most of them for employment, people make more money here than they do in any other province or territory.
True.
So you
Yeah.
add the house prices with the, the money they're making and the recreational opportunities we have here, it's still a pretty good solution.
Okay, put your business hat on for a second, not your real estate part of it, but what does it take to be a successful business? You're running a business there. Like what's your philosophy in terms of running a business and making it successful?
I think it comes down to having a very clear vision about having integrity in, yourself and how you conduct that business and in benevolence of knowledge. And so right now, the most important thing that I'm trying to build and have built is an amazing group of like-minded individuals that are helping each other grow. And so I think it's important about choosing the right people to partner with to build that business.
Yeah. What do you like about running a business in Calgary and in Alberta? And what benefits do you see in being here as opposed to being somewhere else?
Well, as we just spoke of, the affordability here is like people are excited. So they're often moving from other places. They get to have a lifestyle here that they didn't or couldn't afford in other places. So, in all honesty, I'm dealing with a lot of happy people all the time.
Makes it fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you do you have any kind of role models or anything that inspired you as a business person?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, I call on my entire network of Anglo Invokers people. We are a global brand, but, I've been with brokerages before that say that, and I still hardly knew anybody within that shop, never mind internationally. And I could right now call upon people within pretty much every city in Canada and most across North America. And I know them personally, and I'm inspired by all of them. And, one of the things that's important to me is that, the part that I love about this job is building these people on this team and giving my knowledge and experience to them. And what I get from all of my mentors in this is the exact same thing. I can ask them any question and they are just giving me all the information that they have. Like, right up to the president of the company, you can just phone them on their cell phone. It is so impressive. It's so powerful to go to our conventions and everything and just sit there and have people really invested in my success, and now I'm invested in my people's success, and it's a really nice thing to carry forward.
Talk to me a little bit about Calgary itself right now, and what's the vibe and that you get from the city these days when it comes overall in terms of the economy and where the city's headed?
So this is the interesting thing that people are often surprised about in Calgary is that we have an amazing culture scene. We have like our dining scene is unparalleled. And I have a lot of friends from Vancouver, for instance, that come here and they're just like, we don't have this kind of, amazing, diverse, wonderful restaurants. But at the end of the day, you have to look at, like we talked about, it's affordable to live here. The housing prices are not expensive. People are making a lot of money, and that means they have money in their pocket to spend.
Yeah.
So everybody's going out and they're experiencing things, and they're building the opportunity for restaurants and different arts and things because we can afford to enjoy them.
Hmm. And in terms of some of the business climate of running a business in Calgary, what can you say about that?
It's changed as I said, my first career being in oil and gas, we were
Yeah.
very much a one-trick pony back in the day, and that has changed dramatically now. There's a lot of different tech companies, the film industry is very big, like there's all these different industries that have are flourishing here. And so it's brought a very diverse set of people to Calgary as well. And so it's been pretty interesting to watch it change over the last 10, 15 years.
All right, wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Chynna, for joining us today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Enjoy your day.
Okay, you too. And that was Chynna Winter, who is managing broker, CEO, and licensed partner of Engel Volkers in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Thanks for joining us today.